So let's spend a beat on red flags because this is absolutely something you really need to be aware of. Give me some characteristics of, we've talked about patterns. What makes it move from a pattern to a red flag?
One of them is we talked about a pattern is you're working together on that. There are times in a relationship where one person's not even trying.
Yeah.
That is a huge red flag because, as I tell my clients, you can work on your communication. You can work on your responses. You can work on you and how you act in a relationship. You cannot work on the relationship all by yourself.
Right.
There are two people in this relationship. So a big red flag is if one partner doesn't think there's anything wrong or they don't care and they're not trying to work on things.
Yeah. A foundation for any differentiation between an unhealthy pattern and a bad behavior is, do you have two committed, honest people working together? If you don't, that's a good sign that it's a red flag. Okay. Give me some actions areas, because we've talked about relational areas, but there are other types of actions that are relational that are almost always going to be clear red flags.
Yeah. If one person has control over the other, where they're going, what they're doing, or financially, you can't have a credit card on our account. That's a big red flag if there's control.
Okay, so control issues.
Yes.
Physical control, access to information control, like control issues. Yep.
Right.
What else?
One of the things that I think is most blaring is if you are afraid to speak your mind or to be able to share when something's bothering you with the other person. Not necessarily physically afraid, but you're worried. The phrase I hear a lot is walking on eggshells. If I say that, they're going to respond this.
Yeah.
So even though it's a major issue, I can't say that because I know what the response is going to be.
Yep. So fear and control is a huge differentiator. You should have the comfort and security in your relationship that you can openly communicate. And if you don't have that, that's a signal that maybe you have a red flag in your relationship. And we did a whole episode that talks about building predictability and comfort into your relationship and the importance of that. And a lot of it focused on just that. How do you build a relationship where you are free to come to somebody? If you don't have a partner who's willing to work on those things, back to the first point, people working on it, and you are not in a position where you feel comfortable because of the repercussions, the emotional repercussions, maybe the physical repercussions, red flag.
The main thing about the flags is you usually can't. I don't like the word fix, so I was struggling here for
help.
You cannot resolve, work on and resolve a lot of the red flags. Just the two of you. It just, I've seen it too many times. It's not going to work. You need outside help. That could be a minister. It can be a counselor. It can't be done on its own pretty much with red flags.
Yeah. So to put a close on the red flag discussion, red flag issues are much bigger than a podcast. Listening to podcasts such as this or any other podcast is great for dealing with unhealthy patterns or working on your relationship. But if you are feeling like you are seeing red flags in your relationship, you need to see people whose job it is to help you resolve those issues.